Okay, so now I'm going to go over pull 1A, sort of, where you pull the top part and not the stage. So the first step is aggroing this potato guard. And the second step is aggroing the decimators. And I'll do the quick aggro trick, which I'll explain a bit later. But for now, just like that. And usually, you'll see people who stand where I'm standing right now to pull them. But you usually don't want to do that. You want to stand on the stairs and then dodge to here later on. And the reason is, if you stand here to begin with, a lot of times the mobs will start walking up the pillar. And it's really hard to kill them then. Because the axis is weird in this game. So now we're gonna do the stage part of pull 1. And this one's one of the trickiest, if not the trickiest one in Gyfin, but there's a method to it. So you want to stand around here. So you aggro these mobs before you aggro the crusher. And then 5 seconds later, or when the mobs start turning green and standing up, you want to aggro the crusher. Then you start advancing back as the mobs except for the crusher follow you. And the reason you do this is so that they all come up at about the same time. Because if you don't do that, then it gets kind of dirty, especially because there's a Fleming and a crusher ahead of the two guards. Okay, and now I'm going to do the left side of pull 2. And you can either aggro the Fleming and guard first, or you can aggro these two guards first. It's kind of a personal preference thing. So one doesn't want to aggro. And I usually like to aggro the two guards first, just because it makes them come in more nicely to the pack. I'll show that way in a sec. So this is why I feel like it's easier if I aggro these two mobs first. I have to wait until it starts walking though, or it's gonna potato all over me. Okay. These two. Oh, it's still potatoed. And then these two. I can stand right where I'd normally pull the mobs to. These guards come in perfectly. Dodge back. Fleming and guard. And Dark Crusade would have his mobs exactly here. Except he pulls these and I pull these. So now I'm gonna do the right side, I think. Yep, the right side of pull 2. So first you want to activate this mob, and this is kind of optional, but you can wait a few seconds, and I'll say why later, and then grab all the other mobs. And I waited a few seconds. First, don't let the crusher AoE, but I waited a few seconds so that it will follow me and attack me and stop moving, and let me easily pull the Fleming into the rest of the pack. If I don't wait a few seconds after activating that mob, then sometimes it will come at a time same as the Fleming, and when I back dodge to get the Fleming in the pack, then that mob will kind of walk behind me. And it's not that bad because the guard's pretty easy to move compared to the crusher and the Fleming, but it's just one of those trying to get the pull super nice things. Now we're on to another really challenging pull, and this one's usually done solo. So let's see. There are a couple ways to do it, but my preferred way is aggroing these two guards first and then aggroing the crusher. And you want to stand, so you basically want to position so that you don't aggro this crusher and Fleming, and so that either the mobs all follow you at about the same time or the crusher comes first. And then you want to step back a bit so this crusher won't AoE but will aggro right on top of the Fleming. So yeah, that's about how that one works. And the reason you want the crusher to come in first or at the same time as the other mobs is if you have to stop the guards and the decimator from coming in, and the crusher's behind them, then a lot of times the crusher will start AoEing first. And that's really not that good. Hello, and now I'm gonna do the left side of pull 4. So, some groups will activate this guard and other groups won't. You may have to pull the right side a little bit differently if you want to do the guard, and it's kind of awkward because it usually resets otherwise, so for this I'm not going to pull it. So first you activate the decimator, then you activate these two guards, and then you activate decimator. And some people like to wait a few seconds after activating the two guards before they activate the decimator because they think it pulls up here more nicely. But that's kind of optional and personal preference kind of thing. This pull's pretty straightforward. It's awkward at first because of how parkourish it is, but it's pretty straightforward when you get used to it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the right side of the fourth pull, and usually the final pull. And this one's kind of straightforward but kind of tricky at the same time. And the reason for that is this front guard aggroes a lot more quickly than the one behind it. And if you let the front guard attack you, then a lot of times it will take a very long time after attacking but before it comes into the rest of the pack. So the ways to deal with that are you either have to stand very close to the front guard, not close enough that it attacks you and not far enough that it chases you quickly, or you can aggro it and lead it around this thingy so it walks behind it. So first I'll do the staying close but not too close method. And again, I don't think I mentioned, but the reason that's important is if I were to just run back to where I'm supposed to pull the mobs to, then the second guard behind it would just reset. Or it wouldn't reset, but it wouldn't follow you at all, so just as bad as resetting, I guess. And now I'm gonna do the other method of dealing with the annoying guard on this pull. This one's kind of more fun, but kind of more weird. All the way around here. And this one can make it a little bit more awkward to get them all pulled in properly. But yep, that's how it's done if you do that way. And one more thing to mention is that some groups want the mobs pulled a little bit closer to this spot, because the far guard over there will reset if it goes past it. So if the mobs are about where they're situated right now, then we're able to kill one more mob in the loop.